What's up, you guys? This is Devin from CenturyFX Studios, back with another video. And today we're going to be doing a collaboration video, more like an interview, because there's a YouTuber that was commenting in my comment box, and he was telling me about different things that he was doing, about sports, motorsports, things of that nature, just basically doing sports photography in an extravagant way. I really thought that his work was really nice. I asked him some questions and he agreed to do it on video with me. This is Kirk, and I have all of his stuff in the YouTube box below.
Hello, I'm Kirk, dirt bike freestyle photographer in the DMV area. This is a question and answer session for Devin. One of the questions from Devin was, how did I come up with the style of imagery? And I believe that's what the question was. How did I come up with the editing style and the style of image that I put out? I like very high contrast, very detail oriented images. And that's really what I set out to do. I've been editing for quite some time before I started shooting, but I went onto YouTube, of course. I was looking at various editing styles and techniques, but nothing really suited, my taste. But what I did, I pretty much developed my own. I know what I wanted and how I went about developing the high contrast images, very sharp, very detailed, rich colors and everything. So that's the short of it, for real.
Yeah, I really like your response there, Kirk. Basically, you were saying things like you knew your editing style before you actually started shooting. So when you started shooting, you actually knew what you wanted to do, and so you had this like idea for high contrast images, colorful images, very exciting, with capturing motion type of images. And I really think that was really nice. I saw some videos on your YouTube channel about sharpness and contrast and how to use that curve in actual Photoshop. That's really nice. That's a real intricate technique that a lot of people don't think about, because it has a lot to do, your editing style has a lot to do with the small details. And even though a lot of people like to use the small details when it comes to shooting, they don't think about it to the smallest extent like you did with the exposure on the wheel of the bicycles that you didn't like. So all of that's a part of your style, and it's really nice, man.
The next question was, I believe, why did I choose the 1DX Mark II over more or less any other camera? Well, I initially started shooting with the only camera I had at the time was a 50D. And I started with that, shooting the scene that was definitely inadequate as far as shooting, to me, motorsport or anything fast action. So I had to upgrade, and more or less the camera chose me. I didn't choose it because I wasn't really intended on spending the amount of money. We all know what a 1DX runs, Mark II, so no need to mention money, but I love the camera, and I believe the camera is more than adequate for my needs. And from jumping from a 50D straight to a 1DX Mark II, that was a big leap for me. And the situation came as to where that suited my needs with focusing, and also the tracking, of course, full frame and everything else that comes with that particular camera. But trust me, you won't be disappointed.
All right, so the 1DX Mark III was the camera he chose from the 50D. The 50D. Okay, I got the specs written down here, guys, but the 50D was a 15.1 megapixel camera. It also had 9 autofocus points and 3 frames a second. It also was a crop frame sensor, so it wasn't a full frame sensor. So now you're moving from 15.1 megapixels to 20 megapixels. You're also going from 9 points to 61 all cross type autofocus points, if I do recall. And then you're going from expandable 3 to 6 frames a second on the 50D to a whopping 16 frames a second on the 1DX Mark II. This camera is 8 years younger than the 50D. So you absorbed 8 years of technology by getting the 1DX Mark III, and that's quite the upgrade. And I really want you guys to think about that, because a lot of people like to upgrade to the next camera. Let me get the T4i because I had the T3i. That's not even a real jump. Like, people upgrade just because it's cool to upgrade and you get the newest technology and it makes your job easier. And yeah, it does make your job easier, but a lot of people stop to think, what is this camera doing for me? Can I still have life out of this other camera that I used to have? Can I still use it? The best camera you have is the one you have with you, and you really have to study your camera. And one of my things I get a lot with my students and all these other people is they don't study their camera enough to have a 50D for a long time, and then jump to a real update like the 1DX Mark II. Now that is a direct update, and you did a good job of explaining why you got it. It was just past due, and he's definitely using it to its maximum ability.
As for the question from Devin also was RAW versus JPEG. Which do I choose, and do I use both? I primarily shoot RAW.
And of course, guys, he's shooting RAW. You didn't even have to ask this question. With all the processing that he does, the way his images look, he has to have the most juice out of his images when it comes to RAW. So it's not really much to discuss there. I doubt he even shoots JPEG. As a matter of fact, I remember him saying he doesn't shoot JPEG. So,
question is, how much do I charge for my images? Typically, it's 2 for $30. Each additional is about 10 to 15. Sometimes I sell them for 20 each. It depends on the rider. The riders are notoriously cheap. The younger riders, I don't believe they can appreciate a very nice print, But the kids, the street guys, the end result I would like for them to buy the image. I would pretty much give the image away if they was to get a very large print, say 40 by 60, something huge, framed up with a nice aluminum floating frame or something. Hit them in the head, $500-600 for that.
yeah, that was a good joke, man, to hit him over the head. But I mean, hey, you pay for this equipment. I think a lot of people don't respect photographers enough today, and especially the younger people who have the Instagram, who have the cell phones and stuff like that. For a photographer who's been doing it for years and years and years, even probably into the film days, they don't get enough respect for what they know and what they went through, how much money they have invested into the gear, the insurance over the year, how many gigs they have to go on, how hard the job is. People think that, you can just take your cell phone out and click and you have a DSLR quality image or a high, quality image without actually appreciating a good photographer. And so they disrespect the photographer, not knowing what he goes through, not thinking about all the hardship that he goes through in post to get that high quality image. And so they try to get a smaller price or a lower price, or try to, cheat you like you're at a pawn shop or a haggle, like you're at an auction for your stuff. But it seems like you have a set price and they're willing to pay for it, especially with that editing style. That's something that you won't really see in almost anywhere else. And now that you have a YouTube channel, it's really nice that you're sharing information to help photographers grow so they can gain that respect that everybody needs. So that people can start respecting photographers nowadays for unique work, not just work you can just tap on your cell phone and get. That's great. It's great to know from a standpoint of somebody who does many different styles of photography or genres of photography that I know what to look for when I'm charging people. So thank you for letting us know everything that you do when it comes to charging for this motorsports, this kind of genre of photography and this style that you do and how you charge for it. And you can only imagine what you're going through when you're outside and you're shooting and trying to catch those types of moments. Of course you need the 1DX Mark II. So thank you for letting us know how much you charge.
Primarily, the 70-200 is the tool of choice. But sometimes, you can't really use it when guys come a little too close with the bikes, when the action is kicking ass. But oftentimes, if I intend to shoot, I intend to get closer to the riders, and I intend to use the 2470 to distort perspective using that particular lens at 24.
Now going back to the street rider aspect of it, maybe not so much my thing. I don't necessarily like when people cut me off when I'm driving, but that goes to say everybody gets their hustle, how to get their hustle, and everybody does their fun, how to do their fun. I just encourage everybody to be safe on the road, be safe with all the motorsports, whatever you're doing, however you're doing it, just be safe and try your best to be legal about it. All right, but with all that little disclaimer being said, I love the fact that you told us what lenses you use, why you use the lenses, when you use the lenses, how you use the lenses, because when you're a guy with a DSLR, you're walking around with a bunch of lenses, and you might not know exactly when to use them and how to use them and where to use them to get exactly that right shot at that time. And knowing that you know where you're going to be, how you're going to be, what the structure is, that helps you determine what lens you want to use and why you want to use it and how you want to use it and how you use it creatively.
How do I prepare? I don't know. I just show up on the scene, the stunt spot, or if there is a meet. For instance, MLK is coming up. Everybody's going to be in Miami. You know, so I got the tools with me. 1DX, batteries charged. I have hella memory cards, CFast cards, and the 70 to 200. That's my tool of choice because I love the perspective. I love the images that it produces, and obviously the scenery.
Yeah, so it's great that you know exactly again where you're going to be, how you're going to do it, how many memory cards you're going to have, batteries charged. These are just formality things, but definitely I'm glad you let us know just verbatim, step by step, what you're going to do, where you're going to, where you're going to do it, how you're going to do it, and all that other stuff. So it's great that we're able to see this side of the photographer going and traveling and doing what you're doing, and the attitude and persona that you have with your photography makes it even more gratifying to see, because a lot of people will be like, oh, amazed or mind boggled, but you have to have this I'm going to do it, this concerted attitude to get it done, especially in sports photography, because you only have one chance to get the shot. I think Jason Lanier said that. I was watching some Jason Lanier videos recently, but I want to thank Kirk for coming onto the channel and doing this with me, this collab video. It was seamless. We've been working on this for quite a while, just making sure that he's able to get his YouTube channel running. I'm trying to help him out. He's trying to help me out. We're just collaborating. This is what we do as YouTubers. We try to help each other out. We try to go to the next level together, not just pick on each other. I know the last video I did that got a lot of views was Tony versus Jared, and my discussions on that. I tried to come in the center and try to diffuse the argument and come and bring my opinion on two photographers that I have the utmost respect for. But you have to understand that you need to be able to work with people and not so much argue with people like in the comments. My name is Devin with CenturyFX Studios. Stay tuned for the next episodes, guys. We got some good ones coming up about audio, some more 7200 stuff, some sharpness stuff, some portrait stuff. So stay tuned for the next video, guys.